The arrival. The sky above the alien city burned with two suns, one gold and one pale blue, casting strange shadows on the streets below. The marketplace was alive with noise, alien merchants shouting in sharp, clicking voices, the hiss of strange machines, the smell of roasted meat mixed with metallic air, and then everything went silent. A man had entered. He was human, tall, wearing a dark coat that had seen many battles. His boots were dusty from long travel, and in his gloved hands he carried a small, sealed box. The aliens in the market stared at him with wide eyes. Their conversations stopped mid-word. Their hands froze above counters. Some even stepped back as if afraid the air around him might burn. Whispers spread quickly, carried from one stall to another like a cold wind. The name Izahan was spoken again and again. Some said it like a warning, others like a curse. The human ignored them all. His eyes were calm but hard, his steps steady, as if he already knew where he was going. He passed a row of tall reptilian guards in bronze armor. They shifted uneasily but did not stop him. One merchant, an old alien with silver skin and 3 black eyes, leaned forward and spoke in a low voice. Human. No human comes here. Not since the War of 7 Moons. You should leave while you can. The man didn't slow his pace. I'm here for Izan, he said. His voice was steady. I have something for her. What is it? The merchant asked. A gift, the man replied without looking back. He continued walking. The streets twisted like a maze, narrow alleys filled with strange glowing plants and shadowy figures. More whispers followed him. Some aliens ducked inside their homes. Others trailed him from a distance. High above, the palace of Izan rose like a black crown against the sky. Its towers shimmered faintly, as if alive. Inside those walls lived the one ruler, who had defeated human fleets, the one name that could silence an entire city. Far across the city, in the throne room of the palace, a cloaked alien messenger bowed low before a tall figure seated on a curved, bone-like throne. My queen, the messenger said in a trembling voice, a human walks the streets. He carries something. He says it is for you. Isan's eyes, deep red and bright as molten iron, flicked open. Her voice was low, almost a growl. A human dares walk into my city? Alone? Yes, my queen, the messenger said. The people are afraid. They whisper your name. Isahan rose slowly from her throne, her tall armored frame casting a long shadow over the floor. Bring him to me alive, she commanded. Do not harm him. Yet. Back in the streets, the man, Captain Elias Ward, could feel the eyes on him. He tightened his grip on the box. Inside it was the reason he had crossed 3 star systems, the reason he had risked his life. A sudden movement caught his attention. A group of rough-looking alien mercenaries stepped out from a side street. Their weapons were drawn. They blocked his path. Human, the leader said in a hissing voice, you will give us what you carry, and maybe we will let you live. Elias looked at them without fear. You couldn't pay me enough to open this for you, he said. The mercenary leader grinned, showing rows of sharp teeth. Then we will take it after you are dead. They moved in fast, but Elias was faster. He sidestepped the first strike, smashed his elbow into another's jaw, and drove his boot into a third one's chest. The fight was quick but brutal. He fought like a man who had seen too many wars. When the dust settled, the mercenaries lay groaning on the ground. Elias didn't waste a word on them. He picked up the box where it had fallen, brushed off the dust, and kept walking. From a rooftop above, a cloaked fig. Yor had been watching the fight. The spy turned and leapt across the roofs, rushing back to the palace. By the time Elias reached the palace gates, the massive doors of black metal were already open. The guards stepped aside, unsure if they were obeying orders or simply afraid to stop him. Inside, the air was cool and heavy. Lit torches burned with blue fire. The long hall stretched ahead, ending in the throne where Isan sat waiting. Her eyes locked on the small box in his hands. And for the first time since entering the city, Elias slowed his steps. He had reached the end of his journey, but the real test was only beginning, the name they fear. The throne room of Isan was vast, built from black stone carved with symbols older than the city itself. Tall pillars twisted upward like frozen smoke, glowing faintly with veins of silver. At the far end, Isan sat upon her throne, her armor a deep shade of crimson, her long black cloak flowing down the steps. The moment Elias entered, a heavy silence fell. Guards lined the walls, their hands tight around their weapons. Their eyes were fixed on the small box he carried. Isan's voice cut through the air like a blade. "You have come far, human," she said. "Do you know what your kind is to me?" Elias met her gaze. "I know enough," he said. His voice was calm but steady. Her eyes narrowed. "You are a species that bleeds defiance. You fought me for 7 years, and when you lost, you swore vengeance. So why should I let you stand here alive?" Elias took a slow step forward. "Because what I carry is not a weapon," he said. "It's a gift." The words seemed to echo in the hall. Several guards exchanged uneasy glances. As far as they knew, humans brought only trouble, not gifts. Isan tilted her head, studying him. "A gift for me?" she asked, her tone unreadable. "Yes," Elias said, "but I will only place it in your hands, and only if you hear the story that comes with it." Her lips curved into something between a smirk and a sneer. "A story?" she said. "Do you think I have time for your words, human?" "I think you'll want to hear this one," Elias replied. Isan rose slowly from her throne. The hall seemed to shrink around her as she approached. Her presence was heavy, like standing in the shadow of a mountain. She stopped only a few steps away from Elias, her eyes searching his face. "You are brave," she said, "or foolish." "Both, maybe," Elias answered. One of her advisors, an elderly alien with glassy skin and a voice like breaking stone, stepped forward. "My queen," he warned, "this could be a trick. We should take the box and—" Isan raised a hand, silencing him. "No," she said. "I want to hear what he has to say." The guards relaxed slightly but kept their hands on their weapons. Elias glanced down at the box, his grip on it tightened. "This began years ago," Elias said, his voice softer now, "in the last days of the war." The room seemed to lean toward him. Even the flames in the torches swayed as if listening. "I was stationed on the outer rim on a ruined colony world," he continued. "We were evacuating civilians when I found her." "Her?" Isan asked sharply. "A child," Elias said, "alone, scared, hiding under the wreckage of a burned transport." Isan's expression did not change, but her eyes flickered for a moment. Elias caught it. "She wasn't like the others," Elias went on. "Her skin was pale, but her eyes were red, like yours." The silence in the hall deepened. Some guards looked at each other. Others avoided looking at Isan at all. Elias's voice grew even quieter. "She told me her name, and when she did, I knew who she was." Isan's hands tightened into fists at her sides. "You will tell me," she said, her voice like distant thunder. Elias nodded. "I will, but not yet." Her patience thinned, but something in her eyes, curiosity, perhaps even urge, kept her from striking him down. "You will speak," she ordered, "and I will decide if you live." Elias lifted the box slightly. "Everything I have to say is inside this. But if I open it now, the meaning will be lost," he said. "So let me tell you why I came here, and why I risked my life to do it." From the shadows above, unseen by most, the cloaked spy who had followed Elias earlier was still watching. The spy's claws tapped the railing, sensing that something far larger than a simple gift was unfolding. Isan stepped back to her throne, her voice echoing. "Speak then, human. But remember, every word you say decides whether you leave here breathing." Elias nodded once, steady, and began. Prisoner of the palace. Elias stood in the center of the throne room, his boots echoing softly against the cold stone floor. The air was heavy, thick with the smell of burning incense. The guards had formed a circle around him, their weapons ready. Izahan sat tall on her throne, her red eyes locked on him. Her face was unreadable, but there was something sharp in her gaze, a question she didn't want to ask out loud. "You say this child had eyes like mine," she said, her voice low. "Do you know what that means?" "Yes," Elias replied. "It means she was yours." The words cut through the room like a blade. Several guards shifted uneasily. A few whispered in disbelief. The old advisor stepped forward. "Impossible," he said quickly. "The queen has no offspring." Elias's gaze didn't move from Isan. "That's what you believe," he said. "But I saw her. I spoke to her. I kept her safe for years. Isan's fingers curled around the arm of her throne. If you are lying, human, there is no corner of the galaxy you could run to that I would not find you. I'm not lying, Elias said simply. I made her a promise that one day I would bring you something she wanted you to have. The room grew still. The flames in the blue torches swayed as if a wind had passed through. What happened? It to her? Isan asked. Though her voice betrayed nothing, Elias's eyes darkened. She's gone, he said. But before she died, she made me swear to bring you this. He lifted the small box slightly. Her gift. One of the younger guards, a tall figure with scaled skin, stepped forward. My queen, we should open it now. If this is some human trick, better to know it before. No, Isan interrupted sharply. Her gaze never left Elias. He said it comes with a story. Let him finish. Elias took a slow breath. During the war, after the last battle on Kalor's moon, I found her in the ruins, he began. She was hurt, her clothes torn, but she refused to leave without a small satchel she carried. Inside it was this box. Sealed tight, she told me it was for her mother. The word mother seemed to echo in the high ceiling. Some guards lowered their eyes, not daring to watch their queen's reaction. She spoke of you, Elias continued, not with hate, not with fear, but with hope. Isan's hands tightened, but she remained silent. Elias stepped forward just enough for the guards to tense. I kept her hidden for years. I moved from system to system, trying to keep her away from those who would use her as a weapon or a bargaining chip. You expect me to believe this? The old advisor asked, that the queen's blood survived under the care of a human? Elias turned his head toward him. Believe it or not, he said, she's gone now. But her last wish was for me to stand here in front of Isan and place this box in her hands. Isan's eyes had not left the box. Her voice was quieter now, almost distant. And what is in it? You'll know soon enough, Elias said, but once you open it, the story ends. And what comes next is up to you. A long silence filled the hall. The tension was so thick it felt like the air itself had weight. Finally, Isan spoke. You will stop. Lie in the palace tonight, human, she said, under guard, until I decide what to do with you. The guards moved in, two of them taking position at his sides. One reached for the box, but Elias pulled it slightly back. No one touches this until I hand it to her, he said firmly. Isan's eyes narrowed. Fine, she said, but know this. If I find a single lie in your words, you will not leave these walls alive. Elias met her gaze without flinching. I've come too far to lie, he said. The guards led him away, down a long corridor lit by blue flames. The sound of their boots echoed in the narrow space. Behind him, in the throne room, Isan sat very still, her eyes fixed on the place where Elias had stood. She told herself it was a trick, a game humans played to gain favor. But deep inside, there was a shadow of something she had not felt in years. Doubt, the past unveiled. Night fell over the alien city. The two suns dipped below the jagged horizon, and the streets turned cold and quiet. From his chamber in the palace, Elias could hear distant bells and the low hum of patrol ships moving through the sky. He sat on a simple bed, the box resting on his lap. His hand never left it. Outside his door, two guards stood like statues, their armor catching the torchlight. Elias's mind drifted back to the day he first saw her. The memory was sharp, like it had happened yesterday. The war had been raging for years. He was stationed on Kalor's moon, a battlefield of broken metal and scorched earth. Human and alien ships burned in the sky above. The ground trembled with distant explosions. That's when he heard it. A faint, trembling voice calling out from beneath a pile of debris. He pulled away the twisted metal and shattered stone. And there she was, a small girl, her skin pale but her eyes bright red. She stared at him, afraid yet stubborn, clutching a small satchel to her chest. Her voice was quiet. Don't take it. It's for my mother. Elias had never seen a child like her, not fully human, not fully alien, but something in between. He knew instantly she was important, too important to leave behind. He carried her to safety, but she never let go of the satchel. Inside was the box, sealed so tightly it seemed part of her. Whenever he asked about it, she only said the same words. "It's for my mother. One day you'll help me give it to her." For years they moved from planet to planet, hiding from soldiers, bounty hunters, and thieves. Sometimes she would ask about her mother, and Elias never had the heart to tell her what he'd heard. That Isan was a ruthless warlord who had crushed entire fleets. But the girl believed in her. She said her mother was strong, that she must have had a reason for everything she did. That belief never left her, even when sickness began to take her strength. Elias remembered the last night they spoke. She was lying on a narrow bed in a dusty outpost clinic. Her voice was weak. "Promise me you'll find her. Promise you'll give her the box." He had promised, and he had kept that promise in his heart every day since. A sudden knock at the door pulled him back to the present. The guard stepped aside as the door opened, and there stood Isan herself. She entered without a word, her cloak brushing the floor. The guards closed the door behind her, leaving them alone. Elias stood, the box still in his hands. Izahan's eyes went straight to it. "Tell me the rest," she said, her voice low but edged with command. "She was your daughter," Elias said. "Half human, half of your kind. She survived the war because I found her. She lived because I protected her. She died because I couldn't save her from the sickness." Izahan's expression didn't change, but her fingers tightened around the edge of her cloak. "You expect me to believe this?" "I don't expect you to believe," Elias said quietly. "I expect you to listen." He told her everything, the escape from Kalor's moon, the years spent hiding, the moments when the girl spoke of her mother with pride, the way she never let the box out of her sight. "She wanted you to have this," Elias said, holding it out. Her name was Leora. The name seemed to hit Izan like a physical blow. Her eyes flickered, and for the first time since Elias had met her, she looked away. "What's inside?" she asked, her voice quieter now. "You'll see," Elias said. "But when you do, you'll understand why I came here, and why she believed in you, even to her last breath." A long silence passed, the kind that seemed to stretch for miles. Then Izahan stepped forward, her hand hovering over the box but not touching it. "Tomorrow," she said finally, "I will open it, in the presence of my court. And if what you say is true, then everything changes." She turned and left, her cloak swirling behind her. Elias sat back down, the box still in his hands. He had brought it across the stars, and now it was almost time. But deep inside, he knew that opening the box would not just reveal a gift. It would reveal the truth. The box opens. The next morning, the palace was heavy with silence. Outside, the twin suns rose slowly, casting long shadows through the tall windows. The great hall was filled with guards, advisors, and nobles, all waiting for something none of them had ever seen before. Elias stood in the center, the box still in his hands. His face was calm, but his heart beat hard in his chest. Izahan entered from the far end, her long cloak flowing behind her. She moved like a storm, quiet, powerful, unstoppable. The moment she stepped into the hall, the crowd bowed their heads. She stopped in front of Elias, her red eyes steady on him. "You said this was my daughter's gift," she said. "Now you will prove it." Elias nodded. He stepped forward and held out the box. "Before you open it, know this. She never once cursed your name. She never doubted you, even when she was dying." A murmur went through the court. No one could believe such a thing. Izahan took the box in her hands. For a moment, she simply held it, her fingers tracing the smooth surface. Her breath slowed, as if she were bracing herself for something more than she wanted to face. She broke the seal. The lid opened with a soft sound. Inside lay a necklace, a delicate chain woven from both human silver and alien crystal. The two metals twisted together perfectly, shining under the torchlight. At its center hung a small pendant engraved with words in both human and alien language. Izahan lifted it slowly. Her hands trembled, just slightly. The court watched in silence. Beneath the necklace was a folded piece of paper, worn and creased from years of being carried. Izahan unfolded it carefully. The handwriting was uneven, as if written by a young hand. The letter was short. "To my mother, I don't know why you couldn't be with me, but I know you are strong. I know you are brave. I hope one day you will wear this and remember me. I love you. Lyora. The hall was silent. No one moved. Isan stared at the letter for a long moment. Her lips pressed together. Her eyes did not look away from the words. Elias stood still, his voice soft. She wanted peace. She wanted you to have something that was part of both worlds. She believed you could make that happen. Isan's gaze shifted to the necklace. The silver and crystal glimmered like two halves of a whole. One of the older advisors stepped forward, his voice careful. My queen, if this is true, then she was a bridge between our kind. Izahan said nothing, but she closed her fingers tightly around the necklace. Her head bowed just slightly, as if she were carrying a weight heavier than any crown. When she finally looked at Elias, her voice was steady again, but different, quieter. You risked everything to bring me this. I made a promise, Elias said, and I keep my promises. For the first time there was no anger in her eyes, only something harder to name, grief, respect, and maybe a small spark of trust. But before she could speak again, a loud, distant sound shook the walls. A deep rumble like thunder, followed by the sharp cry of a horn. The court turned toward the great doors. A guard burst in, his armor scorched. My queen, he shouted. The sky is burning. They've come. The threat, the sound of the horn still echoed through the great hall. Its deep cry seemed to shake the very stone beneath their feet. Izahan turned sharply toward the guard. Who? She demanded. The guard's voice was breathless. Not human. Not of our kind. Their ships are black, covered in burning marks. They came through the outer gate like it wasn't there. Elias's eyes narrowed. The Dravik, he said under his breath. Isahan's gaze snapped to him. You know them? I've seen what they do to worlds, Elias said, his voice grim. And if they're here, you have less than an hour before this palace falls. The court erupted in frightened whispers. Nobles looked toward the exits. Guards tightened their grips on weapons. Izan raised her hand, silencing them all. Her voice was iron. No one leaves. We hold this ground. Elias stepped forward. If you fight them the way you fought every other enemy, you'll lose. A ripple of shock went through the hall at his boldness, but Isan didn't strike him down. Instead, she tilted her head. You think you have a better way? I know I do, Elias said, but it means working together. Isan's eyes narrowed. Together? With a human? You've already fought alongside one human, Elias said, nodding toward the box. She's the reason I'm here, and if you want her gift to mean something, you'll listen. For a moment, Izan said nothing, then she stepped closer, her voice low. Speak, Captain. Elias's tone was wise. Urgent. The Dravik don't fight fair. They corrupt systems, jam communications, make your defenses useless. But I know a weakness in their armor. If we hit them fast and from above, we can break their lead ship before they swarm the city. Isan's war advisor stepped forward. My queen, this is madness. We don't have the ships positioned. Then we move them, Isan said sharply. Her gaze returned to Elias. You'll show us exactly where to strike. Elias nodded once. I'll do more than that. I'll lead the strike. The court erupted again, half shouted in outrage, half in disbelief. Isan silenced them with a single look. If the human fails, the Dravik take him first, she said coldly. Elias almost smiled. Fair. Within minutes, the palace was alive with movement. Runners carried orders, guards rushed to armories. In the skies outside, the first enemy ships began to descend, their dark hulls glowing with strange, pulsing light. From the balcony above the city, Isahan and Elias stood side by side for the first time. Below, the streets were chaos. Citizens running for shelter, soldiers forming defensive lines. They will break through your walls in minutes, Elias said, but they won't expect us to take the fight to them. Isan glanced at him. You've risked your life to bring me a gift. Now you risk it again to save my city. Elias looked out over the burning horizon. Your daughter believed in something bigger than war. I think this is what she meant. A loud crack split the air as the first Dravik ship broke through the clouds. Its jagged shape blotted out the twin suns. The battle was seconds away, a gift for the future. The first Dravik ship descended like a shadow of death. Its jagged hull blocked out the suns. Its engines roared like an animal ready to strike. From the palace balcony, Elias and Izan watched it cut through the clouds, the alien war shy. Horns blared from the walls. Soldiers tightened their formation. Elias turned to her. We have one chance. Take out their lead ship, and the rest will scatter. Izan gave a sharp nod. Then we strike now. Within minutes, the palace launch bay came alive. Sleek black skimmers, armored troop carriers, and the massive flagship Vorthon's Claw roared to life. Elias stepped into the cockpit of a human-built attack craft, one of the few ships that had survived the war and now sat hidden in the palace vaults. The city shook as the Dravik opened fire. Beams of burning light tore through towers, sending debris crashing into the streets below. Elias, Izan's voice came through the comm, sharp but steady. I am at your wing. He smiled slightly. Then let's show them what happens when human and your kind fight together. The ship surged into the sky, cutting through smoke and fire. The lead Dravik vessel loomed ahead, its spines glowing with energy, charging for a shot that could tear the palace in half. Now! Elias shouted, diving low to avoid their plasma fire. He wove through the chaos, blasting open one of the Dravik's armor seams. Isahan's ship swooped in from above, driving a spear of molten energy deep into the exposed gap. The explosion ripped through the enemy's core. The great ship groaned, split, and began to fall toward the sea. The remaining Dravik vessels faltered, their formations breaking. Within minutes, they were fleeing into the black sky, vanishing beyond the horizon. Silence fell over the city, broken only by the distant crackle of fires. Back in the great hall, Isan removed her helmet. Her eyes met Elias's. You saved my people, she said, her voice softer than he had ever heard. Elias shook his head. No, your daughter did. She brought us here, even if she's not here to see it. Isan looked down at the necklace she now wore around her neck. The silver and crystal gleamed in the torchlight. In front of her court, she stepped forward and clasped Elias's forearm, a gesture of warriors. From this day, I no human will be unwelcome in my city, she declared. The crowd murmured in astonishment. Elias turned to leave but paused at the door. She wanted you to have peace, he said quietly. Don't waste it. Isan watched him go, her hand resting lightly on the necklace. For the first time in years, she felt the weight of her crown lessen. Above the city, the twin suns shone again, and in the Hall of Peace, the gift of a daughter to her mother became a symbol for a future neither human nor alien could have imagined alone.